Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by Caesars Sportsbook and Casino. Fun slate of games coming up at 1 o'clock Eastern here on CBS. Chargers and Browns should be exciting. Steelers, Bills, same thing. Dolphins and Jets, see if Zach Wilson versus Teddy Bridgewater lives up to the hype. Got the Titans and the Commanders and the Texans and the Jaguars. Love that setup for James Robinson as our start of the week. We now welcome on our buddy Jason Lockenfor, has been helping you win a lot of money here on Fantasy Football Today. And JLC, let's take a look at the first game that we're talking about here, which is the Dolphins and the Jets. You got the Dolphins 3.5-point favorites on the road. The over-under is 46. Teddy Bridgewater versus Zach Wilson. How does this game unfold for you?
I like Miami here for a multitude of reasons, Jamie. They're 10-3 against the spread their last 13. That's first in all of football. The Jets have lost 12 straight divisional matchups. I feel like a lot of people talking about Vegas is overvaluing Miami. I actually think the Jets are overvalued and that 2-2 record flatters them. They've trailed by double-digit scores in both of those games, and it took some wild improbabilities for them to get back in those games, let alone win them. A lot's being made of what Zach Wilson did in the fourth quarter. Go back and watch what he did in the first three quarters. And this Miami team is well rested. They're coming off that Thursday night game. And they've known, unfortunately, from the moment the cart came out for Tua, that Teddy Bridgewater was going to be their guy. And he got more prep than you ever could have imagined. If you're going to have to face something unfortunate like this, you want to do it coming off a Thursday night game. Teddy Bridgewater is a starter, 24-6 against the spread on the road. I think this is a week where Miami's defense starts to show a little bit more of its bite. And in this battle of former Kyle Shanahan assistants, I'll take McDaniel over Saleh. Saleh will do what he has to do to take away the run game. I don't think he can stop both of those wide receivers. I think the Dolphins are the better team. Dolphins have played better opponents. I think the Dolphins win by more than 4 points.
Having their guys healthy on offense certainly matters with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle expected to play in this game. Xavier Howard also was a little bit banged up. He's going to play as well. So, yes, I agree with you. Dolphins should be able to control this game. We just hope to see a little bit of Breece Hall, maybe Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, put up some numbers on the other side to help the fantasy managers in that one. Let's talk about the Cowboys with the Rams. The Rams are 5-point favorites at home. The over-under is 43. I don't think a lot of people would have thought that would be such a low total when the season started, but we know the Cowboys dealing with a backup quarterback, and obviously the Rams offense has been struggling. So, JLC, what's the play here for you?
I like the Dallas Cowboys here, and I'm not someone who usually buys Cowboys hype. I'm usually a fade the Cowboys guy because they tend to be overvalued. But I just feel like styles make fights. And in this battle, I like what the Cowboys are going to be able to do to the Rams in the trenches. The Rams are down to a third-string center, right? They're not pleased with the left tackle. They've got at least 3/5 of an offensive line that troubles you. It got to a point against a San Francisco team whose pressure rates are mirrored by the Cowboys to where we start seeing, wait a minute, they're not in shotgun 11 personnel. We've got 12 personnel, a little bit of 21 personnel. That's Sean McVay telling you we can't be who we want to be right now because we don't have the personnel to protect this quarterback to do it. We know Stafford turns the ball over. I think Micah Parsons is going to be a problem. And I love Dallas's keep it simple, stupid approach on offense, especially for gambling purposes. Cooper Rush doesn't have to win the game. Cooper Rush doesn't have to do that much. We're seeing Dallas use much more 12 and 21 personnel by design than they have in the past. We're seeing Pollard show up high percentage pass plays early in games. The young left tackle there is playing his backside off. And look, to me, this is too many points for what amounts to be a home game for Dallas, because that's what it's going to sound like. Did I love it even more when the opening line was 7? I did. And personally, I got it at 5.5. But I still really like it at 5. The Rams right now, to me, don't have an identity.
I couldn't agree with you more, and we've seen the 2 losses for the Rams. Stafford sacked 7 times each of those games. Week 1 against Buffalo, last week against the 49ers. Cowboys are getting after the quarterback. Going to be really tough for Stafford in this matchup. So outside of Cooper Kupp, really want to stay away for the Rams from a fantasy perspective. Tyler Higbee as well, based on the position that he plays. Let's talk about the 49ers and the Panthers. 49ers coming off that big win last week. They are 6.5-point favorites here against Carolina. The over-under 39.5. A lot of people think this could be Matt Rule's last game. How do you see this game going, JLC?
I think this game's going to be ugly, ugly, ugly. And I've leaned into a lot of these ugly matchups on paper this year, and they've done pretty well. I like the first half under. I like the under overall. I mean, San Francisco's not even allowing 12 points a game. These two teams are struggling to score 16 each a game on offense. San Francisco, even going back to last week, I mean, Debo takes a 50-50 ball at midfield to the house. That could have been a pick six the other way. I don't trust either of these quarterbacks right now. San Francisco's run game is not humming along like it normally would, and I just don't think the Panthers are going to be able to move the ball on them. The Panthers' early game scripts have been horrible. That's part of the reason I lean into that first half under as well. I'm sorry for fantasy football players if you have guys on these teams outside of one or two. I do like Kittle. I mean, that prop now is down to like 39.5 yards. I do think Kittle has 40 yards in this offense somewhere today. Debo anytime touchdown is something that you always want to keep an eye on. But I just think overall this is an ugly football game, and it may be Matt Rule's last game.
It could be an ugly one. Clearly, though, you're starting Christian McCaffrey on the Panther side of things, and for the 49ers, you are starting Kittle, you are starting Debo. You're probably still starting Jeff Wilson, but yes, probably expect a lot of low scoring when Vegas tells you under 40 points is the total. Don't expect to see a lot of scoring, mostly on the Carolina side, but hopefully San Francisco and their players do deliver. I do think this could be the Kittle breakout game after what we heard out of San Francisco. A little squeaky wheel could be coming in this matchup. Last one we're looking at here, we have the Eagles and the Cardinals here. The Eagles are 5.5-point favorites on the road, the over under 49, so could see a high scoring affair. What's your take on this one, JLC?
I want to pound the first half in this game. The Eagles' second quarter is historically significant, what they're doing to teams in the second quarter. The Eagles have a plus 57 scoring margin in the first half. I don't think anybody else is above 40. Excuse me. Arizona, they've got a minus 50 first half scoring differential in the first half, and their first quarters have been abysmal. It just looks like they're not even running a real offense. I think Philadelphia is the better team. But over the course of 60 minutes, the Eagles do tend to take their foot off the gas, especially when they've been able to run the ball, pass the ball all over the place, and build up big leads. And that may be the game flow in this one as well. And then eventually Arizona defaults to just let Kyler run around, play street ball, do whatever he has to do to keep the ball in the air and keep the chains moving. And then they tend to accumulate their points in the second half. So I like the Eagles to win the first half by 3 points or more. I like the Eagles to clear 13.5 points in their team total by halftime. And if you made me play the game, I would still say the Eagles cover, but I'm focusing on some of that first half action.
2 weeks ago, it was 24 points for the Eagles in the second quarter. They put it on the Jaguars last week as well. It's just been fantastic to see what they do. And hopefully it carries over for the course of the game. And like you said, we get that garbage time production from Kyler Murray to help the fantasy manager starting him. Maybe James Conner, Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz. Should be a fun game, especially if it does get over the total of 49. JLC, you're the best. We appreciate your time as always here on Fantasy Football Today. Let's recap your picks and see how you're helping people win some money here. So he likes the Dolphins to cover at the Jets on the road. Likes the Cowboys to cover the 5 points there in Los Angeles. Likes the under between the 49ers and the Panthers, and likes the first half for the Eagles at -3 based on how they typically do in the second quarter. We're going to take a break here on Fantasy Football Today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.